Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought today we would have a look at something that is a bit nostalgic for me in terms of War Thunder, and it's the time where War Thunder nearly killed their game. They decided to revert the changes they were going to do, but this comes from 2018 of all things, and I did a video on it back then, which I'll leave a link in the description. You can see the fantastic Ushanka that I have, and then also much more bearded tech. Basically, I thought we would go through what it was, and it was the vehicle modification upgrades. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's kind of been wiped from the history of War Thunder. If you actually go to the page where it was, the vehicle modification upgrades updated, it doesn't actually show you anything. It says that it's basically been reevaluated and disappearing. But, luckily, because of the internet and how the internet never forgets, there is a fantastic link, which I preserved in my video, basically going through the changes. So that's what we're going to do today, and show you what could have happened to War Thunder and what could have just gone completely wrong. Now, War Thunder has made some interesting decisions in the past. This one was a very negative one, and luckily, it was one of the times where the community came together and basically just went, no, we're not doing this. And that was incredibly positive. Around this time, by the way, if you want a bit of a flashback, it was the 5th of June 2018. Update 1.77 was here, and from March 2018, and this is the one that added the Abrams, the LA200, the Leopard 2K, and the T64B. So 6 years ago. Isn't it just insane? The MB5 also got added in that update, a aircraft which unfortunately is sat in a sad place. And also, we had fleet testing for the good old naval. So that was in the infancy of naval too. So a pretty crazy year in 2018. A lot of stuff was added. But the change actually, so the vehicle modifications, was supposed to come in update 1.79, which actually came out on the 12th of June. So the vehicle modification devlog or news item only came out about a week before all of these things were added. So it was probably ready to go when they were going to add it in. The Leopard 2A4, the T64BV, Type 90, and the AMX40, you can see it was quite a large update at the time. Even the Fury being added. By the way, you know what also happened in 2018? That's right, it was the good old summer event with the FJ4, and also the IS-7 event, which also happened during that time. So 2018 was a hell of a year. You know, we had the start of the Build-A-Bear events. We also had the start of many other things too. It's just kind of crazy how much happened in that year. A very explosive year in terms of War Thunder. Basically, Operation Summer, which was the tank one, was in July of 2018. And then they did a good old summer event, which gave you access to the VMF-FJ, which was the first vehicle in the game to have access to bullpups and also just AGMs. So just to kind of give you an idea of what time period we're talking about. Very much nostalgic, I'm sure, for many. So let's have a look at the article and look at what they were going to do. I'll leave a link in the description for it so you can see it yourself. But this is basically the vehicle modification upgrades. Now, if you played World of Tanks, you might see similarities between this and what you see in World of Tanks. And it's one of the reasons why people really despised it. And also because, once again, it was something where you could pay for power. So the way that they actually tried to show it and kind of coerce you into it was, hey, do you really like your favorite vehicles and you don't want to play anything else? Well, guess what? What we're going to do is add in this update a way for your vehicles to be even better and to push you through. Even after getting a fully upgraded vehicle, we're going to add another tier to it. So therefore, these vehicles are even better. And it wasn't just like an Ace Crew, it was premium modifications. So basically what you could do is you could upgrade your modifications to be even better than they were before, adding another layer between newer players and older players, and would just have been made a mess. And they were going to do it in two separate ways. So you had kind of a modification upgrade, which you can see here, and then also you had the kind of pre-battle training. So pre-battle training was a one-use, one-time thing. So what it would do is it would give your modification, which you picked, a advantage over other people. So as you can see here, if you got the FPE one, it would give you 3 fires that you could extinguish instead of 2. So literally just paying for an advantage, which is kind of crazy. And they would disappear after the battle was gone. And then you had a modification upgrade, which was a permanent upgrade to a specific modification on a vehicle. So you would have a temporary upgrade, very similar to a booster. Then you had a permanent upgrade, which you could either buy for GE or, purchase on the market or get in the Warbond shop. Or, the main thing was the market was involved once again. This was also the explosion of the market because we had the April Fool's event with the Tiger and the Cobra, which was the first test of the crafting event idea. Then we had the IS-7 event, which was heavily influenced by the market. And then we had this, which was literally buying upgrades to your vehicle in order to make it better. Absolutely crazy that they were going to do this. And as I said, incredibly similar to World of Tanks. One of the things that actually put me off World of Tanks in the first place, after playing it, I actually played World of Tanks before War Thunder, but we're going back like 11 or 12 years at this point. I started playing War Thunder in 2013, and I played World of Tanks probably 2012, just before War Thunder even released. And the thing about World of Tanks that I could never get over, at the time you had premium ammunition that you could only buy with gold, and with certain vehicles you needed to use that. So you needed to pay to actually be useful. And then also they had modifications or crew, I suppose, additions that you could add to the vehicle, which were also kind of premium additions. So you could get a specific modification that would just make all of your crew attributes plus 10% across the board. And this would mean that you would obviously just have a better crew than whoever you were fighting. And this really rubbed me the wrong way. And one of the things that attracted me to War Thunder was the fairness angle of it compared to World of Tanks and compared to a lot of other free-to-play games. And I honestly believe that when it comes to War Thunder right now, it's still in that place. It still is an incredibly fair game compared to a lot of other free-to-plays that are out there. Of course, you have the Ace crews and the Expert crews, but you can purchase Expert crews with SL, and you can grind out Ace crews. You don't get any advantages in terms of, 2 spaded vehicles in that way. And also, at the same time, when it comes to like the camouflages or anything like that, a lot of them can be got in the Warbond shop, even though they take ages to get, which I would actually lessen the time. But usually you're not getting an advantage. There's obviously in War Thunder some premiums here and there, which are, a little bit overpowered or have been, but mainly event vehicles are the ones which are the problem. And then on top of that, in World of Tanks, you just had some absolutely disgraceful premiums, like stuff like the Chrysler, for example, where you literally just couldn't pen it from the front. It was just nuts as a general vehicle. So when we look at stuff like this, the vehicle modification upgrades, it obviously rubbed me the wrong way and rubbed a lot of other people the wrong way, because it's just awful. You could permanently upgrade your vehicle, so therefore adding another layer, which meant that you were just better than the opposition, and you could just kind of nuke them because of the fact that you'd played the game more or put more money into it. And that was a hill that people were willing to die on, including myself. I am not happy with, something like that being set up. And I remember everybody coming together on that day, because literally this was, Gaijin released this on in June. And then later that day, they were like, oh, we've made a big mistake. This is not a good idea. So yeah, they literally, after maybe half a day, scrubbed the article and decided that they were going to postpone this, which basically meant it would never come back. And now we are 6 years on, and this idea has not come back. And I don't think it will. I think this one is dead and buried for good reason. Because it's important to remember stuff like this. It's important to remember some ideas that Gaijin tried and thank God failed to implement, but also to be vigilant about these things. It's incredibly important to see and look at what was tried in the past and try and apply it when it comes to future stuff. So if you ever see things like this creeping in again, it's always a good idea to call it out. Because as we've seen when it comes to War Thunder, there are some ideas that you can kind of mold into people. For example, the gambling aspect of War Thunder is one of those which has become much more aggressive over time, where now we have just gambling all the time in War Thunder, instead of just in the item shop. We now have it for, a lot of the Warbond shop items, and also, of course, the crates, where everybody, before the crates come in, always asks me, where are they? I need to spend my SL, blah, blah, blah. And you can just see that the addiction is growing. So you've got to be careful, because these ideas have ways of permeating into the game, even in slightly different ways. And that's why it's important to look at what's happened in the past and make sure it doesn't repeat in the future. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.